Thank you so much for joining us. Tonight we are talking about the KC-135 that has gone down over Iraq. We're hoping to get more information about that, but we don't have that yet. So tonight we're grateful to have retired Colonel Brian Newberry, former commander of the 92nd Air Refueling Wing at Fairchild, with us. Thank you for making some time.
Thank you. You're welcome. We always want to remember our airmen.
Yeah. So there's a lot we don't know about this situation, and I'm just going to quickly read all that is confirmed from U.S. Central Command tonight. So they sent out this statement a few hours ago. U.S. Central Command is aware of the loss of a U.S. KC-135 refueling aircraft. The incident occurred in friendly airspace during Operation Epic Fury, and rescue efforts are ongoing. 2 aircraft were involved in the incident. One of the aircraft went down in western Iraq. The second landed safely. This was not due to hostile fire or friendly fire. And then they talk about how more information is going to come when it's available. So there's a lot we don't know. But for folks who aren't familiar with the KC-135, can you help me better understand exactly what that is?
It's an incredible aircraft out there. Honestly, it's sad that we have to talk about it in this light, but we talk about all the firepower that's going on out there. None of it would happen without the KC-135. We have over 400 KC-135s in our Air Force inventory. It's a tanker. It's a gas station in the sky. Fighters don't go anywhere without their gas, and the tanker gives it. And our crews, it's an over 70-year-old airplane. I was always incredibly impressed with the maintainers. They were wizards that they were able to keep that 70-year-old airplane going, and it is vital. It is the backbone of our Air Force. It is how we get global delivery, and it's how we get our aircraft to the fight.
And for people who don't understand this, it actually has a boom that comes out and refuels planes in the sky as they're flying.
Correct, and our airmen do it all the time. Every day, Fairchild aircraft are flying, tankers all around the world are flying, and they're not only doing real-world missions, they're doing practicing, because it is a complicated maneuver where 2 aircraft come together, and you do transfer a lot of fuel between them. They are flying gas stations, and when we're overseas, we use call signs like Shell, Texaco, Exxon. That's what we do, is we fuel the fight.
Yeah. And we're talking today about this with you in particular because as former commander of the 92nd at Fairchild, there are a lot of KC-135s at Fairchild. We, of course, don't know where this crew or where this aircraft was from. It could be a ton of other bases that have KC-135s, but there is a fleet at Fairchild, correct?
There is, and yeah, I just want to reiterate what you just said there. You actually know as much as I do, and you just read it there. I don't know any extra information, and I wouldn't offer any, even if I did. It's not my role anymore. But I'm here tonight to talk about the mighty KC-135 and how important it is, and honor every airman that flies such a vital airplane out there. But to your point, there's actually a lot more KC-135s out there. As a KC-46, the new tanker has come online. Fairchild has become the super tanker base, and it is the biggest tanker wing out there. So to the commander out there of the 92nd Air Refueling Wing and the 141st Commander, our guard friends, I just give them incredible compliments. Their fleet has almost doubled, nearly tripled since I was out there. And yes, I'm sure they're all over. Many of them are overseas taking care of operations, but there are bases, reserve, guard, and active bases across the United States where there's other tankers that are over there as well.
So, of course, we don't know what the status is of the crew. We know that there is ongoing rescue efforts happening tonight. The last time that a KC-135 went down was in 2013, and you were the commander. That crew was from Fairchild. I know this is kind of a really difficult thing to talk about, but I think you are one of the few people who can really speak to what's going on in the minds of our military community tonight, especially here at Fairchild, as we wait to figure out what's going on. What do you want people to understand tonight?
I think what I want people to understand is, again, I'm glad that you were able to celebrate the tanker. It's an incredible airplane that does, even though it's so old, it just does so much to make sure that our Air Force remains the most dominant Air Force in the world. The second thing is, to every aircraft is attached air crew and maintainers that make a difference for our world. And there's so many out there, very, very sad right now because they've lost friends and they've lost loved ones. And just at this point, just to take a stand back, the military has very procedures that they go through to make sure. In fact, when we lost Shell 77, it was really 48 hours. Normally it's 24 hours before we come, but it was honestly 48 hours before I was able to go talk to the media about exactly who we lost that day. And if I could say their names,
Yeah.
Captain Mark Voss, Captain Tori Pickney, and then Tech Sergeant Herman Mackey. Never forget them. And as long as we say their names, they're never really gone from us. But when we lost those 3 air crew, it was really 48 hours before we could get the word out. So just ask for the public to have patience. The military is going through its processes, and this is what they do to give respect to the family and give time to breathe. And so give space. And the final thing that I would just offer, and thank you again, Sydney, for caring so much about our military out at Fairchild, is just I would just offer is to remember that the Air Mobility Command is a family. It's a precious family that I served with for 23 years and couldn't be prouder to serve with them. And we're all connected. And even though this base might be identified as where the crew came from, we know them. We know them. And we all cross paths as we go to different bases and different trainings. And so everyone's holding their breath right now, and it's just a challenging time. And tomorrow will be a very difficult day across Air Mobility Command because we just are thinking about that we lost potentially brothers and sisters over there, and we just want to pray for their families and know that we love them and care for them. So those are the things that I would say the community is just know that your military is doing the right thing in how it's taking care of business, but at the same time there's a lot of heavy hearts out there, and if you can support and give hugs to those that you know in the military, it's appreciated.
Yeah, let's talk about that support. Certainly sending thoughts and prayers to these folks who are waiting to hear exactly what happened, and to those overseas right now as well. How else can we rally around our military community in kind of this very difficult moment?
I mean, I don't really have specific ways that you can do that other than the fact, and I said this a couple nights ago when we were talking about the 141st activation, is if you know family members that are specifically impacted, reach out to them, say hi to them, make sure they're okay, because oftentimes it's a family that carries the greatest burden, and this is the greatest burden of all, to lose a loved one, whether it be a mom, dad, or a spouse, or kids in the worst case. So just be out there, be supportive of them, keep the politics out of them. Just know that at this point it's them serving their country, and that they are going forth because their country asked them to do so, and they gave their life for their country on the altar of freedom. So give that space. And the last thing that I would just say is that this never forget the sacrifice that they made, and just always be there for them going forward. I still feel the scars of Shell 77 to this day, and I still go out there on May 3rd to lay flowers out there. And whenever I go there, without a doubt, there's always other flowers out there. There's always pennies, nickels, and dimes, which is a military tradition as well. There are people out there that will never forget Shell 77, me being one of them. So once this scar of losing an active duty member or a reserve or a guard person, a U.S. service military member, losing them in military action, that will be with us forever. And so always just be there and be that supporting that the American public should be for its U.S. military.
Yeah. And, we don't know what could happen in this situation. I know there are rescue efforts underway, and it's possible that there are survivors from this crash. We don't know. But in the case that there are not, we know that one base is going to at least experience a very difficult few days ahead. As the commander of a base or of a Air Refueling Wing that experienced this, 13 years ago, what is it? What are those moments like? What can the community do? What should they understand that folks are going to go through in the next few days potentially?
Sydney, it's a great question, and I appreciate it because it gives me a chance. I mean, it's really why I'm here tonight, is to celebrate Spokane for what it did for us. Two things. One, I'm not asking to do a card or a letter campaign, and I don't have the addresses of where you could be, but what I will tell you is for 6 months after we lost my airmen, I still got cards and other things from around the world, as far away as the Netherlands, saying, we remember your airmen and what they did. It mattered because you are in the military. It's your kids that you just lost. And you as a commander, when you get that, it matters. But more importantly and more specific to your question, I love you, Spokane, for how much you cared for us, for how much you cared about Fairchild. You sat at the gates, you waited patiently, and then when they came home, you showed up. And we had Governor Inslee came, we had 2 senators come, we had general officers come. My airmen were 2 captains and a tech sergeant. That's not very high up in the rank chain. And yet I had so many dignitaries come to their final memorial. Why? They were special airmen, but it's more importantly what they did was special.
Yeah.
That's what we're honoring. And everyone was there. And then here's the final point, Sydney, is when we drove from the Air Force Base all the way down to the IMB Center, or First Interstate Center now, that was given to us to have that memorial service, there were flags the whole way down Highway 2. That's Spokane. That's a lilac community. That's a red, white, and blue community with a lilac heart right there. And as a lilac princess, you know how much we love this community here. Honestly, that's why I'm sitting here today with you, because I turned to my wife when we were getting at the end of our time and I said, this community loves its veterans. Maybe this is a place that we call home. And why we retired here is because of that love for Shell 77. So wherever you are at, Base USA, show love to your base. They want it. They need it.
Yeah. We will certainly continue to keep an eye on this situation and update folks as we get new information. Is there anything we haven't touched on that you want to make sure people understand tonight?
I think you covered it all. Thank you again for talking about my Shell 77 Airmen, and thank you for talking about how wonderful this Spokane community, all communities out there that surround their bases love their airmen, and just remember that these airmen put up their hand to support and defend the Constitution, and they went to do that over there. And I always think that the 3 airmen that I lost, it was not in vain. They were giving their life because they loved their country, and they had so much youth and so much life left to live. And all we can do now is honor them. Let's honor these airmen that we lost today or potentially lost today. Thank you, KREM, for caring about our community.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to certainly keep everyone, all of these airmen and their families in our thoughts as we wait to hear what happened. But thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you.